The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the second day of February 2023. And, wishing the head honcho of BCG, Keitha Cairns, a very happy belated birthday. Her birthday was yesterday. So a big happy new year to Keitha. She's actually in Club 40. I don't know if I should supposed to share that publicly, but I don't think people are private about that age anymore. Anyway, people are proud, right? Yeah, people are proud of her.
You make it to 40 and you're still looking good?
Yeah. I remember that. But that's a question, though. Are women in particular, because I know women usually were very private and conscious about their age, but now it's like people are proud to say I'm 40 or I'm 25 or I'm 35, I'm 50, yeah?
My 40th birthday hit the year that COVID hit. And when I tell you I had the biggest party planned, I was so excited that I was hitting 40 and then COVID had other plans. So
Right.
yeah, I feel like 40, it's different nowadays, right? I feel like you should embrace it.
It's young now?
I don't know. I listen, I'm about to be 43 and I feel like,
I'm with you. I'm with you, Sandra. I remember being young. 40 was old to me, but I think it's something in the food that we're doing 40 better. That's what it is.
No, we actually made it to 40 and now we're like
yeah, well, we're making ourselves believe
we're making ourselves feel better about it.
Yeah. But happy belated to Keitha, and of course my youngest sister Jada. Her birthday is today, so happy New Year to her, and wishing her a great day today. And she hasn't given me permission to say her age either, but she's young twin. So I'll leave it at that. She's young twin. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sandra Durham. And Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sister Sandra, how are you today? I mean, I tried to negotiate with you. Well, no, I asked you a question yesterday and you negotiated with me and bribed me in the simplest form. And folks, tell me if I'm lying though, because I say this to the others. I'm like, yo, Sandra's so tough in the nicest way. Like she's a true businesswoman. She doesn't, and I hate to use this term, but people literally see a Sandra like as this fun loving person, which she is. But I'm just like, yo, like it's just so straightforward. And I'm just like, yesterday she really put it to me in a way most people will probably be like, I guess a bit more, yeah, well, you better do this. And she's like, yeah, sure. Well, let's do this and da-da-da. And I was like, you trying to drive me through an easy negotiation? Like I couldn't even say nothing.
That's one thing you know about me, and I tell everybody around me. Let's just be straightforward. I don't have time for all that little tiptoeing around stuff. This is what it is. How do we deal with it? Let's move forward. We're on the same page, great. Now what's next?
She damn did that, folks. She did that. Michelle White says 60 is the new 40. So Sandra, you are so young. Well,
thank you.
Axmatic, so young she is. Folks, look, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. So look, we have a very interesting conversation today as we welcome the Chamber of Commerce president, Nathan Kowalski on. We're discussing the Bermuda economy. And I tell you now, you do not want to miss this conversation. This is information that you want to hear, you want to engage with, you want to understand it. I'm letting you know now, if there's been a conversation this year that you want to make sure that your friends and family tune into, this is it. All right. The Daily Play is a name that place. So we're going to be traveling the world with Sancha today. And if you haven't already, make sure you register to become a member of the TDH community. Just fill out the application on our website. It's on thedailyhour.com throughout, or you can do it through YouTube just by hitting the join button. We have a lot of things, a lot of rewarding things in store for you this month for the TDH community only that you seriously don't want to miss out on. So make sure you do that. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe on the website and follow us on social media, regardless of the channel. So make sure, again, you go on the website, you fill out that form to become a member of the TDH community, or you just hit the join button on YouTube. You don't want to miss some of the stuff we have coming up this month. It's going to be some exciting stuff. You might even get a picture with Maya or Sancha in person. I mean, depends on how much they charge. Depends on how much they charge. Their prices are going up. But look,
we're negotiating again.
Folks, it's not much negotiation. Just telling you, this is what it's going to be. Let me know if you're down with it or not. You're down or you're not. But Sancha, honestly, we haven't spoken about our good friend tourism in a while, right? But our good friend tourism has been lighting up the news as of late. Now, we missed one day, you all. One day. Yesterday, one day. And in that one day we missed, you got the government of Bermuda's labor minister, or whatever Jason Hibbert is now, asking for ideas, right, to grow the economy or immigration, all that stuff. If they listen to this show, you all have given them so many solutions, by the way. We've had the Bermuda Tourism Authority going global with the CEO search, when I thought they recently said that they were going to do it internally. Again, with tourism, they got the whole marketing and advertising agency thing, going out looking for a marketing and advertising agency. That's another show. And I understand the purpose of any company having an outside agency. But when you have so many people in one department in an organization that's failed to deliver results, doesn't look too good. And then you have the American Airlines situation with the Miami and Bermuda flight. So I flipped the coin and Sancha didn't respond. So I take her response as, go ahead, Jamel, this is what we're talking about. So I asked, right? So folks, question of the morning is very simple. What can we learn from American Airlines suspension of the flight between Miami and Bermuda? Like, what can we learn? And on our Instagram page, we actually asked the question a bit differently. We asked on our Instagram page, if I can go there, don't mind me. On our Instagram page, we asked, what does Bermuda need to increase airlift? That was the question on our Instagram page. What does Bermuda need to do to increase airlift? So question of the morning, what can we learn from American Airlines suspension of the flight between Miami and Bermuda? Sancha, do you want to go first or shall I?
Go first.
Oh, thank you, Sancha.
Look, I'm here writing my notes.
Okay, such a gentlewoman she is. Let me say this. I think there's a lot we can learn, but the first thing is, and I'm just going to go through some of the Instagram responses. So on Instagram, what does Bermuda need to do to increase airlift? So here's some of the responses. More economical flights and vacation packages. That was a response. Another, more modern hotels. All right. Another response. If hotel beds increased, airlines will increase airlift. Well, that's simple economics, right? Another one. Provide affordable options to the average travelers, not just the high-end traveler. And another one. What does Bermuda need to do to increase airlift? Well, this is easy. Tourist. What does Bermuda need to do to increase airlift? More beds to be made. Why is South P taking so long to start? Well, I mean, the premier did say it was close. So, I mean, aren't we to trust our $47 million premier? I mean, well, if you've seen the video, you know that's what it's being said the premier is worth, right? Sorry, I get sidetracked easily. Attention deficit. What does Bermuda need to do to increase airlift? Someone says other islands seem to have figured it out. Maybe take some tips from them. So, folks, all that and the question of the morning, what can we learn from American Airlines suspension of the flight between Miami and Bermuda?
You ready for me to go?
I haven't even gone, but go ahead, Sancha.
Oh, you haven't gone? Okay, now I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
I'm just going to be very fast. What we can learn is that we've learned nothing. That's it.
Okay, Jamal, I did not answer you yesterday because I felt as if we're talking about this again. We are talking about this again. We keep having this conversation over and over. And at this point, I just need somebody to watch. So we do not have hotels. We know that. We keep saying at some point we need to move forward. At what point are we going to get something done? So hotels, let's figure that out. Heads and beds create airlines. But secondly, we are not a vibe. We have created this. We're egotistical at this point. We think we're a vibe. And you have places that are so consistent with their marketing, with their product, and this is where people are choosing to go. And the airlines are packing up their toys and packing up their things like this is not worth it. And they are going to other destinations that are actually making it worth it for them. Mm-hmm. Now, thirdly, we have hired a lot of people in the past few months at the BTA. And every single time we have a hire, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty decent hire. That's a good hire. We keep hiring these people. We're hiring people that travel, people that see other parts of the world, people that I feel like are well-rounded. I do not understand at this point why this vibe is not being created and why we are going out to an international marketing firm to try to figure this out when our tourism dollars are within what we're spending in wages alone is astronomical. And now we're going to put another budget on top of that to find someone overseas to promote our product that we know so well. And you have amazing people within this room. They need to get, it has to be a boardroom up there. We need to get them in the boardroom and throwing ideas around. And how about bringing people that have the vibe in the room? You know what? I have an example, and I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to. Smack me on my hand later, Jamal. Look at Gosling's, right? And I'm calling names. I know I'm not supposed to. For a while, it was like every time you went out, you had this Gosling's bar, and it was so great. And those are the events that you went to go to. And when somebody said, "Oh, they're going to a Bacardi bar," it was just like, I don't know. They don't really have. They hired a new person at Bacardi, and when I tell you they are bringing a vibe right now, every event that you go to, it's just like, oh, they said, you know what? I'm tired of losing. They went back to the drawing board, and they have done it so well. We need to look at a model such as, and this is what we are looking for to create this vibe in Bermuda.
Well, I think what you're explaining, Sancha, and people like to take stuff personal, and that's okay, because when you're dealing with our taxpayers' dollars, I really don't give a flying F whether people take it personal. But the point you're making is that, and we can call names. I think you're talking about Danielle and her team at Bacardi. I believe you can use Jessica Aswood and her team at the City. In various conversations that I speak with CEOs in Bermuda and speak with businesses in Bermuda, they keep saying, why isn't the BTA looking to organizations like that, right, as an example on how we can change directions? I think that in fairness, let me just say that I don't think this is, there's so many angles for this, right? There's so many different players in this. Like a flight doesn't just stop coming. Now, someone did ask a question saying, is Americans stopping the flight to Bermuda because the government isn't subsidizing? The government needs to let the public know if they're subsidizing for empty seats, right? So basically, there used to be this fee they pay. Folks, I can share ideas on how to get flights to keep coming to Bermuda. I've done it. I've done it publicly. But it's not about subsidizing the airlines. It's about using group promotions to get people there. Here's the challenge that Bermuda's facing, and I've said it on this show before. It doesn't all fall on the BTA. It doesn't fall on, Bermuda government. But at the end of the day, it falls on the structure and the makeup of our economy. What do I mean by that? Well, if you eliminate the biggest game in town, which was Fairmont Southampton, then you immediately have less beds. Let's put it into context. There was no daily hour yesterday. That was because I was at tourism, big tourism meeting, and here in Palm Beach, Florida. And there's lessons that can be learned. I probably wouldn't be as opinionated and strong in my feelings if I didn't have an outside opinion on this. But I was there, and I realized that Bermuda just does it so wrong. And we asked the question the other day is what's a destination or a jurisdiction that we can look to learn from or follow? Sanchez said it the other day, or Sherry, one of them said it, that other destinations came and learned from us. They literally, anyone who was in tourism back in the day would tell you, many islands and other jurisdictions came to Bermuda, saw what we were doing. Talk about why are we so egotistical and arrogant not to do the same? Why can't we accept that we're behind them? Because I tell you what, if I own an airline or run an airline, I'm not going to run flights to Bermuda just because to have a route when I can take that flight to a Dominican Republic or Cancun in Mexico or down in South America and generate more money. I'm not going to do it. I shared a photo of an empty flight to Bermuda last July 21st, my empty flight from Miami to Bermuda. And I said last night on Twitter, I said, this aged well. In July, a near empty flight. But then some BTA defender says, well, the hotels are full. I said, my point is made. My point is made. Because why am I going to send an empty flight to Bermuda on a daily basis or even once a week when there ain't no place for people to stay? Yeah. Like, this problem's deep. So, y'all need to be pressuring your $47 million worth of Premier and asking them what's the deal with Fairmont Southampton, because I tell you what, Bermudians are, I don't know when, but Mark Bean said it in 2018. Your bellies, they're not going to be full for much longer. And when people are hungry and when they start starving, they react. And your Premier is now worth, according to this video going around, 47 million. Chances are, most of you all who allow him, yeah, I said allow him to increase his wealth, you're losing jobs, economic opportunities. Your tourism product does not exist, regardless of how many people work there and are enjoying steak and wine on you. Like, if it's not for international business, the professionals, the people in that industry who are keeping your economy going, what would Bermuda be?
Yeah.
Silas Lynch, I'll answer this real quickly. I would say go watch the video. And my only question is, if a man didn't have a salary of over $100,000 before he became Premier, I've got some questions myself. COVID? I don't know. Let's go to the audience, Sancho. We've got Sean DeShield saying, improving airlift numbers requires building demand for our tourism product and services, providing affordable vacation experiences that are on par or superior to our competitors. Who's our competitors? Sancha is definitely on one today. Oh, I love this, Sancha. Oh, absolutely. No, we love it. We love it. Silas says the marketing budget doesn't change. Something the local marketing team doesn't have is global reach. Let me explain. Let me break this down.
Look,
It's public knowledge. I said this off air to Maya and Sancha before we came on. Let me teach you guys something real quickly. Yesterday at this tourism summit, the chief marketing officer of Palm Beach's tourism said something, and I thought I heard him wrong. So later on in the afternoon, we were back at the office, and I said to him, I said, "Did you say that we took our digital marketing in-house in 2021 and with the same budget doubled our impact and global reach?" He said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I said. With the same budget. With the same budget." Silas Lynch, you must have been there. Sean, did you
Building relationships with key group leaders, decision makers who have the means to make Bermuda the destination of choice for incentive group business.
Mm-hmm.
But let me say this, creating a vibe, that just back to Silas Lynch's comment, the marketing budget doesn't change something, the local marketing team doesn't have the global reach. Creating that vibe, like you have so many amazing people in Bermuda that actually have that reach. And you look at Turks, people with disposable income, that middle class, they started flocking to Turks because you had Nas that was sitting at a dinner table. You had Jay-Z, you had Puffy, you had these people that were going there for a reason. That doesn't necessarily start with some outside marketing PR firm that you're going to shove money at them. They cannot create a vibe. They can't do that. That's simple. And it's so many, simple ways. It's just having the right people in the room. And my reason for saying we're hiring all of these people and these locals that are there, these people are experienced. They travel. You're out there, you're meeting people. When you're in these rooms, like you have to work the room and the city that you're in. So, sorry.
No. I think, and I just want to emphasize that last part you said before we bring Maya in. Being in tourism, it's not about drinking expensive wine and being in VIP. It's about maximizing the opportunities when you're in those rooms, shaking those hands, learning from people, finding out their needs and how you can help them. And guess what? Through that, you'll find out what you have that they can help you with. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And people say, oh, this is just sour grapes from Jamel. If that's true, then I think the entire country should have sour grapes. There are people in Bermuda tourism making 6 salaries, $175,000, $200,000. That's taxpayers' dollars. You know full well none of these people would be in a private entity making that kind of money and not delivering results. That's the problem Bermudians have.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. And Bermuda, look, I'm not advocating anything outside of standing up for yourself. Just because something's legal doesn't make it right. This is your money, taxpayers' dollars, being thrown away. American Airlines, they don't have the demand. They're not bad guys. The airport authority is not bad people. Skyport's not bad people. But the people responsible for driving business to Bermuda, the people responsible for getting growth and building new hotels, you know what? It's time to bring Maya in. You all gonna get me started.
I know.
All right, Sancha.
I'm sorry. I had to get this up. What you just said, we need talent within government negotiating in our rooms. Can we go back to when Europe Brown was negotiating these flights coming to Bermuda? It was happening. It was happening. We need talent and people that can negotiate.
Didn't JetBlue start flying around that time to Bermuda? Yeah, and $99 flights. Yeah. Good morning, Maya. Sorry about that.
Hi, Maya.
Good morning. Good morning. This has been quite an interesting topic. I'm definitely tapped into this.
Yeah. It's what does your shirt say?
My shirt says, "I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief."
All right now. All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What you got for us? You want in on this conversation or what?
Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about it in the news break, so
Okay.
I'll let it speak for itself there.
All right. All right.
All right.
You there.
Alrighty, so good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. And unfortunately, we're starting off this morning with a couple of sad news. So, the 40-year-old that was involved in the multi collision accident on the east of Henry VIII unfortunately passed, making his death the first road fatality for 2023. Alongside that, the police also seized a firearm on the scene of that multi car collision, but they are saying that both are being reported and treated separately because they don't think there is a connection between the two.
Okay. Very sad. Condolences to the family of the gentleman and the friends, but that's a crazy scene to find a firearm there too. So
Yeah.
mm.
And also following up from that, there was another road fatality, of a 38-year-old who was seriously hurt and reported from a single vehicle motor crash collision in Sands Parish on Tuesday night. And he was sadly pronounced dead in the early mornings of Wednesday, February 1st.
No names offered, no name offered, right? I mean,
no name offered, no, but some of the public obviously have put out their releases, but I'm not going to say a name unless it's been put out.
not in those groups, but again, condolences to another family. And
Yes.
I didn't say it, but last week I was literally going to say, we got through January, no fatalities, and it was looking good, and kind of back to back. But again, just reminder to people, and Maya, I'm just going to quote you, just be safe on those roads. Buckle your helmets and just be courteous and respectful of the roads. Other people use them too.
Yeah. And this is also a reminder that last year in 2022, we didn't have our second road fatality till about March. And this year, it's already 2 in January, basically. So that's really sad stats to look at. And we have to do better for the rest of the year. We have to do better, Bermuda.
Indeed. What else you got for us?
Well, next up is a report that's actually coming from Sarah Logan from the Gazette, and it says a notice published in the Royal Gazette on Monday said the Innovation Unit Australia New Zealand, which is the overseas company that's tasked to redesign Bermuda's signature schools, would receive $1.8 million for the contract that has been extended to run from November 1st to 2022 until September 30th of this year. So the innovations unit's previous contract was funded at about 2.1 million over a 2.5-year period. It is now bringing to a total of about $4 million for the new signature schools.
Woo! Oh, Bermuda, that's more of your taxpayers' dollars. But hey, yeah, I think I think Sancha and Phil and Sherry and them have Diallo Urban, the Minister of Education, on next week anyway. So you all could get your questions ready for him. What else you got for us, Maya?
Well, as we were talking about this morning, American Airlines. So just to revitalize and just do a quick summary on that, American Airlines has suspended the Miami to Bermuda flight for the summer. The government has confirmed this. They do suspect that they'll probably bring it back in November of 2023. But again, that takes away from big, heavy periods of the summer, which we'd like to have it. Minister Herbert says that we are disappointed to learn that American Airlines will suspend the service from Bermuda to Miami through the summer. We've held meetings with American Airlines to find the alternative solutions. However, they have indicated that Bermuda is one of many markets in which they have been forced to reduce summer capacity.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there was a follow-up by the shadow minister, the Honorable Susan Jackson. She actually put out a release and said American Airlines Miami direct flight is yet another casualty in airlift to and from Bermuda. This is an indicator of Bermuda tourism product is in crisis. The Minister of Transport said Bermuda is one of many markets in which they have been forced to reduce summer capacity. I challenge the minister to explain why many of our direct competitors in the South are enjoying full summer airlift capacity and record-breaking tourist arrivals. From the outside looking in, it's becoming increasingly clear the Bermuda government is failing in its ability to create an environment of collaboration between hoteliers, airlines, and the Bermuda Tourism Authority. How many taxpayers' dollars have been spent on promotion in the Miami market, which is now wasted without a convincing argument from stakeholders to keep such an important direct flight?
When you said stakeholders just now, I was thinking about that steak they probably enjoyed while they were in Miami recently. Remember, they was in Miami recently having an event, and yeah, but anyway, I've said my piece on that. I don't know if you got anything else to add on that. I'm just so disappointed At this point, I'm no longer disappointed at the government or BTA. I'm disappointed in the Bermudian people. You know, I was told as a child that, you know, when you're in a relationship and the other person's treating you bad, you know, a person will only do what you allow. I feel like at this point, you know, and what really annoys me, and some of you are tuned in right now, is the amount of people that will agree and have so much to say, but they'll send you a private message or WhatsApp, but they won't do anything publicly because they have bills to pay. Dr. King had bills to pay. Dr. King could have left everybody's asses in the South, went up and, you know, professed being a doctor up north, right? But he didn't do that because he cared more. It wasn't about him, you know? Same with Malcolm X. Like, it's going to take people who care more about the greater picture than themselves. Sacrifice, fearlessness. Like, why are you so afraid? I'm not accepting excuses. Well, I'm just not like that. Nah. Nope, not at all. If Sancha could get on her fearless every day, oh, well, Sancha comes from, okay, maybe she has a better foot to stand on. I don't. We are weak. No, not we. You are. Go ahead, Maya. What else you got for us?
Well, I just want to close up with some personal news, some original news, sorry, from myself. So I did in 2021 write this story, and it was about, you know, why birth control was even brought to Bermuda in the first place. Just want to highlight that as we are starting Black History Month this year. And I just want to remind people of this history that is very much so linked to Bermuda. So this is a little summit from my full article. It says in 2021, the tourism industry in Bermuda remains one of the top topics when debating for economic future of how Bermuda will gain revenue, even during a pandemic. Tourism in Bermuda has been discussed, dissected, and debated more than the impact of enslavement and segregation in Bermuda.
Thank you for that, Maya. That's a big thing. I remember hearing about that. Like, I'm not going to say it. But anyway, yeah, a certain late MP, I remember whites were accusing her of telling Black people to go in the trees and fornicate, if you remember that story. But what's the weather looking like?
Well, today the weather is looking like a little bit of cloudy starts, developing some sunny breaks in the late afternoon. Go ahead, Sandra. And we have a high of 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And I did want to bring some good news that this month is actually spa month in Bermuda. So there's going to be some reductions in a couple of spa establishments around the island.
Yeah, hopefully that spa month by BTA brings some tourists to Bermuda. What you got for days of the year, Sandra?
It is National Optimist Day. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? If you're a natural optimist in life, you might consider yourself a glass half full, isn't it wonderful life kind of human, which is a fantastic quality to have. But for the rest of us, it might be challenging to be positive all day, which is why Optimist Day is the perfect solution for us. Here's a chance to spend focusing on the positive things, whether you're a natural optimist or slightly pessimistic. This day is here to inject some fun-fueled positivity into your life. So let's stay optimistic, Bermuda.
Yeah, let's do that. Maya, we'll see you tomorrow. We've got a big conversation coming up. We've got Nathan Kowalski, Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about that survey they did recently, folks. Stick with us. Do not go anywhere.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show, Central Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, make sure you are registered. You can go on our website to register for the TDH community. Just fill out the application on our website, thedailyhour.com. As I stated earlier, or you can go on YouTube and just hit the join button. We have a lot of rewarding things in store for this month that you do not want to miss. Trust me. So make sure if you're not registered or joined yet, make sure you tune in. Just waiting on Nathan Kowalski, and he'll be on soon as he's ready. He is ready. So folks, let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Morning, sir. Morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
No
Thank
problem.
You for having me.
I promise we're apologists about the late. We had a hot conversation earlier and it just continued a bit longer. But real quickly, just tell the audience a bit about yourself, your background, and your role with the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, so I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce actually was founded in 1906, actually, and it's the island's oldest and largest trade organization. Mm-hmm. And it comprises hundreds of members representing virtually every single sector on the island. And we tend to focus on advocacy, networking, communications, and lobbying. And we try to stand as a kind of singular voice for commerce and represent the collective interests, commercial interests of all our members.
All righty. And for those who don't know, what makes the chamber different? Like, what's the role of it that makes it so different from other organizations on island for businesses?
We do represent all facets of business, but that's probably the main thing is we're a business focused lobbying group and advocacy group, whereas other things would be more focused on certain sectors. We actually comprise, like I said, hundreds of different members in various sectors. We have nonprofit members, for example, and we also have international business people, and we have the gambit in between restaurants, retail, all that. So I think it's what sets us apart is we're a broad voice representing a disparate set of business interests in Bermuda.
All right.
So you recently released the results of the Business Barometer Survey. What was the purpose of this survey?
So it was to really get a gauge of the feelings of our members surrounding some key issues in the economy, what they're going through, some of their concerns. And it was for us to get a feel for how we can go forward in terms of not only help supporting them educational content, but also in advocacy efforts. And it was this kind of a good snapshot in time around the September month last year.
Mm.
So speak to us a little bit about the findings of the survey. According to Royal Gazette, an article in the Royal Gazette, just a third of business have confidence in Bermuda's economy. What does this mean for Bermuda and Bermudians, and how can we improve on this?
Yeah, that was kind of concerning. I think 35% were actually somewhat unconfident, and 14% were extremely unconfident. So, when you have less of a third of your business members having some sense of confidence in the economy, it is concerning to us. I think it really revolves around some of the general aspects we are seeing in the economy. And I think actually earlier you touched on some of them, but they will also include issues surrounding what we're seeing in inflation on the island, right? And supply chains. And our members aren't really seeing, I believe, really signs of robust growth, right? Despite there has been some recovery from the pandemic, and 54% of them felt that they were doing better than 12 months ago. I feel like they're probably not at a space where they're really confident in the trajectory where they're at right now. 64% of respondents have confidence in the business than their business's economic future in Bermuda. So it's suggesting they're confident in what they can do, but less confident and have a sense of confidence in things that they can't control. So there's a lack of confidence in some of the general macroeconomic conditions that a lot of us are seeing right now.
Interesting. So the same article also says that the survey shows that 41% of businesses are aware of the government's economic recovery plan. Why is this concerning?
Well, I guess from the government's point of view, I would suggest maybe they could do a better job at getting out there and kind of promoting it or marketing it, because seems to me that there's a lot of people that aren't even aware what the government is doing. Of the 41% that are aware of that plan, we had only 18% that were supportive of it. 48% were neither supportive nor unsupportive. So there might be a lack of confidence in the government being able to, affect the economy and do something for the economy. And I think at the time there was not some of the casino news, but some other things. And I think there was just a lack of progress in what we're trying to do. There's some negative headline news over fintech. There's some negative headline news on the vertical farming stuff. And so, some of these key pillars that they're trying to pursue have unfortunately not come to much at this stage.
Wow.
Okay, so what are some of the other findings of the survey that you think people should be aware of?
Sure. So I'll give you kind of the let me just Cole's notes of some of the key findings here because they're kind of interesting. If I looked at across half our business, our report staffing and rising operational costs as the biggest challenge they faced in the past year. On a positive note, more than half indicate their business is better off financially than it was a year ago, but very few felt that they're in a worse position. And very few felt they were in a worse position. But across several business aspects, the cost of doing business and supply chain issues were reported to have a significant worsening in the past 12 months. And I think you've seen this in the news, right? Whether it's getting cars to the island and chips, computer chips and everything like that. Unfortunately, our businesses are suffering on that. Reduced profits are being felt by many businesses as a result of rising inflation. That's causing a notable minority of businesses to adjust their business plans and prices. Most actually anticipate that inflation will continue to increase over the next 12 months. And they expect their operating costs to follow suit. So in the coming months, 4 in 10 businesses expect rising costs will be the greatest challenge they face, while a third actually expect it to be staffing. So speaking of staffing, a quarter of the businesses believe that the number of staff will increase in the next year. However, recruitment is reported as a challenge among 80% of respondents. So it's a huge, huge issue. Also, in relation to staffing, 2/3 indicate that retention of employees is a challenge at their organization, um, and that's becoming a struggle if you're trying to grow or maintain your staff. 3/4 of respondents say their business premises costs have increased in the past year, and 1/5 of respondents indicate they anticipate moving business premise in the coming 12 months. Amongst those anticipating a move, 1/4 note that the decision is being influenced by remote or hybrid working models.
Interesting, that last one, and especially.
Yeah, I think the work from home thing is something that we have to consider could be concerning for Bermuda. I mean, the adage I often hear is if you don't need to be in Hamilton to do your job, you can be in Halifax. So work from home is a risk if it gets embedded in kind of cultures and stuff. So we have to be careful with that. I prefer to have, obviously everyone at work and everyone here, and I'm more of a social person, but I do understand that the way the work in the world is shifting, that is a consideration, especially amongst the younger workers, which appreciate that flexibility, right?
Interesting.
So, at the end of the day, what does this survey tell us about the economy in layman's terms?
I think what you get a sense of, and hopefully from some of those statistics or some of the survey findings I mentioned, that there is still a large amount of anxiety and uncertainty that we're feeling locally. There is a large concern, as I mentioned, of retaining talent to support growth. And on top of that, there's some concerns on the cost of doing business. So just kind of an uncertainty and anxiety overall. Businesses are recovering and they're confident in their ability to keep doing that. But I think they're unsure about this general kind of really volatile macroeconomic environment we live in. And there's some other aspects that are kind of floating out there that in some cases are out of our control. So I do think that there is not a, you wouldn't say this survey is super confident. There's been a lot of concerns in here. And that obviously has to be taken into account because without that confidence, it's difficult to uh, really kind of ramp forward in growth and investment for certain businesses.
All right. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Kowalski, feel free. I know it's interesting because I know people are probably, tuned in like eyes wide open and they're taking it in right now. But I honestly appreciate informative conversations like this. You're bringing numbers, you're bringing data from the businesses themselves. This is not just people's opinions. These are people who look at their financials. They look at the state of their companies and where they are versus where they want to be, and they can forecast things. I just want to go back as you touched on hiring. You spoke about hiring, retention of staff. What can we take anything away from it that, as far as the retention of staff, is it because I know in South Florida one of the biggest challenges was restaurants and hotels could not fill people. They just couldn't find people. What's the challenge in Bermuda? Is it certain industries like retail or restaurants?
Yeah, I think I'll go to that. Let me just find the exact thing because there's actually some interesting industry findings. So for restaurants and nightclubs, so this industry has been struggling the most, like you're saying, with staffing and availability of workers and rising costs. So those are kind of the key concerned in that industry group. So you've nailed that. I think that is kind of universal. So if you look at the JOLT survey, which is like a job survey that came out in the US, one of the biggest kind of gaps in available jobs was in tourism and hospitality. So we're in the same kind of bucket globally as that shortage of jobs. They're also this restaurants and nightclubs. They're also the group most likely to have felt a negative impact of work permit moratoriums on certain categories, so that they are dealing with that. But I think in general, there is still some concerns around the talent war we're fighting in all kinds of sectors. So it's probably not just them. Yeah.
I know you mentioned, you did mention remote and hybrid. And I remember saying when the pandemic first happened and a lot of people were on social media saying, oh, my job, now they can't justify having me in. And I'm like, if your job, you can say that your job can't justify having you in. What's stopping that job from saying, this job can be done from anywhere. I can go to East Asia or somewhere and just have someone do it, right? But there's another part to it. And this has been I know you've seen the surveys. They've been taking place like some pilot programs in the UK and other places. But Renee Simmons has a question asking, what are your thoughts on a 4-day work week that some other jurisdictions are now considering? Would this add or hinder to what's going on like right now?
I think that's that's difficult for me to say blanketly for all our industries. Obviously, for some industries, that if the physical presence is necessary, the 4-day would probably be a scheduling nightmare. So I'm not sure that will work. Maybe for some companies that will work. If they had different hours and work longer for 4 hours to still make up the 40-hour week. But again, that's a kind of business by business situations. It's hard to blanket that across all the disparate kind of business models out there. So I wouldn't really comment yes or no on that in general, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope everyone took in what he just said, right? Because what we don't want is a fight with government mandates saying that, oh, or unions saying, oh, our staff, these are 4-day work weeks. Honestly, it has to be individual job by job. Like industries are very different. You can't expect the same from a reinsurance company as a restaurant. It's just some are customer facing, some are not, right?
Yeah, Jamal, you make a good point there. I think what would worry me is if that was the kind of direction we were going, where the way we do business is dictated with these overarching concepts and rules and regulations, and not allowing the business to do what it needs to do to be successful, to grow, to hire, to expand in Bermuda. If we start creating kind of rules and regulations and things around that, they can pick up and leave. Some of them can pick up and leave, and I don't want to see that. So I think we just need to let business do business, and they do a good job in a lot of sense.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for this. Before you head out, just how can the audience learn more about the information shared in this survey, and of course, just learn more about the chamber?
So I would go to the chamber website, bermudachamber.bm. There's a host of information there. If you're not a member in your business, please look into joining. We would love to have you. And you should be able to find a lot of stuff that's posted there. For non-members, some of the content won't be there, but again, become a member, and then you get all the content and the survey results and other offerings that the chamber does for its members. So please check out that website.
Real quickly, one question from the audience before we head out. I promise, last one. Michelle White, she's asking Nathan, have businesses made any efforts toward changing their methods of finding local talent?
Michelle, I'm sure they have tried to do that. Again, I can't speak for every business. I'm sure that, finding local talent is probably a lot easier for them if it's there, because it's here, it's accessible, it's embedded in the community, and I think that would be their first choice in all regards. So again, I'm not sure how much of that dynamic is playing for each business, but I would suspect that most companies are trying as hard as they can to source labor locally.
Okay, promise. Last one. Michael Daniels asking, is anyone in the chamber concerned about the future viability of the U.S. economy?
I don't know, again, what every member said. I'll speak personally, not so much just for the chamber. I'm not really concerned about the viability of the U.S. right now. It's a large global dynamic economy, and I think people are concerned with the political polarization and stuff right now, but I don't see an imminent collapse or anything in the U.S. economy. They're a great neighbor, a good trade partner. I wish them continued success, because it will benefit Bermuda as well.
Nathan, thank you so much. Honestly, really appreciate you. And please, if the chamber has anything going on that we can assist in engaging with the audience, please know our doors wide open.
Thank you, Jamal Sanchez. Great to see you, and wish you all the best.
Thanks so much. Have a great one.
You too.
All right, thanks. Nathan Kowalski, folks, Chamber of Commerce. If you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Sanchez, we're going to take a quick break, but I just know you at this point. I know you have a lot as a business person to say regarding some of that information. So we're going to take a quick break, folks. We'll come back, Daily Play, and wrap it up. But of course, if you found that conversation helpful, please give us a thumbs up. If you appreciated the information, thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations. I think it's important for Bermudians. We're very opinionated about the state of the country. I think it's important for us to have these discussions and ask questions, not just sit back and wonder why a question wasn't asked, but feel free to ask the questions and engage with people like Mr. Kowalski yourself. So stick with us. We'll be back after this.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All righty. Thanks again to Nathan Kowalski from the Chamber of Commerce. Hope you found that conversation helpful, folks. Again, if you appreciate it, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it. Thanks again to One Communications, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these kind of conversations. We're going to wrap it up in a bit, but it's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sancha, are you ready?
I'm ready, audience. Help me out. You know, I freeze up.
It's a name that place. Here we go. Name that place, folks. Here we go. What is the capital of India?
Oh, I'm not good with India. What is the capital? Traveling Trotty, help me. I don't know.
The audience is Googling.
What is it? I probably will know once you say it.
The capital of India is New Delhi.
Oh, New Delhi. Yeah.
But I want to say I thought it was Mumbai. Hold on. Let me Google before. Hold on. I'm sorry, folks. This is live.
It's Googling.
I literally am. New Delhi is the capital. Yeah, it is New Delhi, but I thought it was something. Let me see. You really got me Googling right now.
You're serious about?
Yeah, I'm really Googling. Oh no, I'm confused. Okay, no. Okay, so it has always been New Delhi, but what confused me is Mumbai used to be called Bombay, so that's what confused me. Okay, yeah, it's New Delhi, folks. It's New Delhi. Yeah, let's got final thoughts. I really just stopped the show, dude. I'm sorry, folks.
I know.
Final thoughts on today. So the discussion, what can we learn from American Airlines dropping its flight between Bermuda, and then obviously the conversation with Nathan Kowalski.
So, as I said previously, I feel as if Bermuda, we have a lot of work to do. We need to figure out getting these hotels online. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's move it forward. And then secondly, we need to figure out who we are. Like we're in an identity crisis at this moment. We need to figure out who we are so that we can move forward, creating these vibes and getting people to want to be a part of us. I am going to be optimistic. We have some great talent that has been hired within the BTA. We have some great people that are working there. Sometimes it's just a matter of having the right team, but learning how to work together for the most positive outcome. And that's what I'm going to stick to in my optimistic day today. Keeping the optimism going. In our discussion today regarding the economy, there was a concept. What I took from it is that we as a people have confidence within ourselves that we will be okay and we will work it out within our businesses, but we are not confident within the government. And that's just the common, I think, across the board. This is what we're hearing over and over, and this is what we're feeling. At some point, we need to make changes. What are we going to do about it? We can keep talking about it, but what are we going to do about it? As I said, we know, Jamal, we say it all the time, we'll be okay.
Yeah. And that's the truth.
It is. I am extremely concerned, and I say this on the show all the time. I am so concerned for the middle class. And it is so necessary for any place that strives for the middle class to be healthy, like the economy within that middle class to be healthy. And you see it slowly dwindling away to lower and upper. There is no in between.
Bermuda
We're
too
heading
small.
in that direction.
Yeah, it's too small to have that. Yeah, I want to say this regarding the Miami. I credit. I think that the folks at Skyport, the airport authority, and there are people in the BTA that do an incredible job. I think there are some genuine people in the government that care and want Bermuda to do well, because I think there are people who care about, what am I going to do after politics? And they know they have to have a track record of doing well.
Mhm.
I think the challenge is much bigger than one organization, one group of people. Businesses, we say on this show all the time, businesses don't exist as charities. They exist to make a profit, to generate revenue. And in order to do that, they need to do what they believe is going to give them the best opportunity to do that. Not having the biggest game in town, the closing of Fairmont Southampton Hotel was always going to impact Bermuda in this way. I was on an empty flight, pretty much empty flight last July to Bermuda from Miami. And I want to go back to something someone said earlier, because I've said it on this show before. I've said this very comment. Silas Lynn says, in my opinion, Miami is a convenience to us, not the airline. That's it. We upset because we're inconvenienced, because it's not like flights have stopped altogether, just in a convenient Miami connection. I think that's BS. I think he's absolutely, he's right and he's wrong. I think he's right that, folks, flights don't exist for our convenience. That's not why Bermudians don't have the volume for flights to exist for our convenience. Where I think his statement is BS personally, or her statement, his or her statement's BS, is at the end of the day, we should be up in arms and angry about a flight not coming to Bermuda, because it means that we're not creating the demand. We aren't creating the demand because we don't have the hotel rooms. We were promised pretty much that the hotel was going to start in this year and be ready for that year. And that's what we should be angry about, because these decisions are being made because there's no hotel bed nights. I'm in a destination where we just created more hotel beds in 1 year than Bermuda has total. Oh, well, that's a bigger destination. That's neither here or there. It's about investment. And we have to ask ourselves if what Nathan Kowalski was here saying today, based on their survey, that local businesses lack confidence in Bermuda, then what do you think American Airlines feels?
Yeah.
That's the connection between both conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If local businesses are not confident in Bermuda, then why would American Airlines be confident in Bermuda? We need to understand why we're angry and direct that anger in places that are going to inspire and motivate us to create a better space. I want to say one more thing before we head out and you give the daily inspiration, though, Sancha. As a population, we have pride. I always say I've never met a person with more pride than a Jamaican. They are the biggest ambassadors of their island. And I do believe Bermudians are some of the greatest ambassadors for Bermuda. Every country has its bad parts. People continue to go to Disney World, but a lot of people don't like Florida's governor and the politics of Florida. The U.S. as a whole. There's always going to be something bad. I'm okay with that. If we can find the positives in those negatives, and turn them around, it's going to take work, but it's not going to happen if greed and ego supersedes the greater good of the entire community. That's pretty much it. Sancha, you got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. The answers keep unfolding as your life expands, if you're willing to see things for what they are and what they can be. And that it's Oprah Winfrey.
I like that. See things for what they are and what they can be.
Yes. feel like it's appropriate.
Very appropriate. Like almost like, let me find that right now while he's speaking. Yeah. No, it's very appropriate. Michelle White says, Jamel, instead of addressing the hotels that they have promised to renovate, they now want to build another in Warwick, leaving a prime product in Southampton empty. It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. And again, this falls on the Bermudian people. I always say a government, Quang goes, they will only do what the people allow. The question is, how will the people respond? Make sure you register to become a member of the TDH community. Just fill out the application on our website, thedailyhour.com, or through our YouTube channel by hitting the join button. We have a lot of rewarding things happening this month that you do not want to miss. So thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we will be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She sent you Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day, my friends. We are out. Peace.